press conference, and we're now going to talk about the FIA Formula One World Championship. And to kick things off, we have our new world champion with us now, ladies and gentlemen, Max Verstappen. What an incredible season. Huge congratulations. I know you've had a lot of that this week, but first of all, when I say Max Verstappen world champion, how good does that sound?
I mean, of course, it sounds very good, but it's more for me the journey towards this championship, where, especially when you achieve it, you start thinking about all the hours and the years leading up to it, and that was for me more emotional than, of course, hearing world champion. But yeah, of course, it's amazing that we achieved this, and it's been a very long and tough season.
And quite a long and tough week.
Yeah, I need some sleep.
Seriously, Max, just tell us what you've done since clinching the championship on Sunday.
Well, I mean, I had one drink on Sunday night. One too many, probably.
Yes, one big one.
Yeah, so, and then I thought, actually, I woke up probably in the afternoon at 1 or 2 o'clock on Monday thinking I had a free day, but then I realized I actually didn't have a free day, so I had another 4 hours of filming or something like that. So I was still.
Can I interrupt you? When you woke up on Monday,
I had a massive headache.
But was the first words that came into your mind, were they "I am world champion"? Is that when the penny really started to drop?
No, it was probably a swear word when I woke up. Yeah, just because of the headache. But. Yeah, no, it's been good, of course, and I've been really enjoying it so far, but I also really need a break because it wasn't easy. I always needed to try to be perfect the whole year. I think once you then finish the last race, everything came out. It's also my body, when I was driving on Tuesday, wasn't particularly great. It was hurting quite a bit. So also because of the cramp from the last lap. Which, of course, I didn't get treated on because everyone was jumping around, and probably also my hydration levels weren't great even on Tuesday. But yeah, no, it's been very good.
And then, of course, you were with the team in the UK yesterday. Just how was it being back with the guys and girls who sort of helped you get where you got?
It's been our goal since I joined the team, and then once you finally pull it off. It was really nice to see all the happy faces, in the whole factory basically, and then also the speech and the clip of the season. I mean, it's just amazing. I really try to enjoy the moment, because how many times will you have that moment? I don't know. I hope, of course, many times, but for now, yeah, it has been great.
Does it feel like family? Because you've been there, 6 years now? That's a quarter of your life.
Yeah, yeah. It does feel like that, because I think you heard on my radio as well after on the in-lap, asking if I could stay for another 10, 15 years. So I am very happy where I am, and also just I can be myself, and that I think is also really important. And it's not only about just purely Formula One. We can have fun, we can have a good laugh, and I think that's also important, because it's not only about performance, also you need to enjoy what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Can we look at the season now as a whole? And let's take it back to the start. Testing went well. How confident were you coming into 2021?
I always stayed very, very neutral, because you don't know what the others are doing or how much they're hiding. But I think what was the positive was that I felt I had a good balance in the car, and I was feeling very comfortable with the car. And then of course, in the first race weekend it really looked good. But again, I was like, well, maybe it's just a track. Can be, because throughout the season you have a few tracks where the car can be a bit better than others. So yeah, I think what was very important from that point onwards was just to be neutral, not be too positive, too negative. Always stay in the middle.
And then at which point in the year did you start to really believe that you could do it?
Well, it's difficult as well, because I've been in the lead, then back to second, been in the lead. So there was never a point where I thought, okay, we got it in the bag, because every race was like I could either win or be second, So, and it was all about, the attention of details where you could make the difference in terms of winning or being second.
And isn't it crazy to think that after 6,500 kilometers of racing, it came down to those last 5Ks on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, you cannot write it any better, for sure. So it was pretty insane.
Cool. Now, look, Max, there are going to be more questions for you in a moment, but could I please invite Red Bull Racing team principal Christian Horner onto the stage now? Very sadly, we're not being joined by Toto Wolff or Lewis Hamilton today, and Valtteri Bottas was due to be with us, but he's been in Hinwil and his flight has been delayed. So it's great to have you with Christian. Thank you for joining us. Just tell us how good this man has been this year.
Well, firstly, obviously great to be here. I mean, you obviously forgot the memo on the suit by the looks of things, but it's been an incredible year, and when you look back at the season as a whole, 22 races, I think the biggest season Formula One has ever had, and from the first race in Bahrain, it's been so competitive. There's been on average probably 0.1, 0.2 of a second between the two drivers throughout the season, and I think that the way that Max has driven throughout the year, and what's really stood out for me is in moments of adversity, where he's just kept his head down, he's kept believing, he's kept pushing, he's kept driving the team forward, and we've known every time he's got in the car, he's given it 110%, and that lifts everybody around them. And particularly the second half of the year when we didn't have the fastest package, he kept us in this championship. He kept fighting, he kept believing, and it's just been the most unbelievable year. And we're incredibly proud of everything that he's done this year, and totally deserving of this World Championship.
Has he reached new heights this year? Is he a better racing driver than he was a year ago?
Well, I think we've just given him a better car, and he's made great use of it. And he's finished every race either first or second, bar one where he had half his car missing in Budapest. The statistics talk for themselves. The amount of laps that he's led, the pole positions, the race victories. He's been outstanding, and so few mistakes under massive pressure. And I think that's what you forget is the amount of pressure that there's been building and building through this championship, and the way as a young man that he's dealt with and coped with that has been inspirational. What were the key moments in this championship? There's been some big moments. It was important to get those victories, to get the run of results. I mean, then there was the moments like Azerbaijan, that we had to come back from, and it was important to come back strong, and Max did that. And I think Silverstone was a key moment, and again how you come back from that. And I think for me in the latter part of the championship, particularly Austin, where we were certainly the underdog on that day, but he delivered a victory that was just truly outstanding. Max, coming back to you, how will becoming world champion change you?
Well, I said already during the season that it doesn't matter for me if I'm first or second. It will not change my life, and it also doesn't. I mean, it has been my life goal to become a champion, and now that I've done that, of course, I'm incredibly happy. But I'm the same guy. I have the same friends. I spend the same amount of time with family. Still live in the same place. And nothing is going to change. But in a way, of course, in the back of my mind, it's just even more relaxing knowing that I've achieved everything in Formula One now, and everything that comes next is just a bonus.
But do you view life differently? Is the view from the summit different? You've reached the summit.
Well, it's still the same color, isn't it? Yeah. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't change anything.
Okay. What about as a driver? Do you think it'll help you in that way?
Time will tell. I mean, I cannot really say right now, but I just have to keep on doing what I have been doing. And of course, I always try to improve, and that's what I will try to do again next year as well.
Christian gave us his key moments of the season. Can we get yours as well?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same. I mean, headbutting the tire wall in Silverstone wasn't that great, but these were at the end of the day key moments. Otherwise, I think it would have been, of course, decided a lot earlier. But especially towards the end of the season, getting a few wins where we didn't expect it, or a pole position where we didn't expect it, all these kind of things, or even a fastest lap, it is an extra point. So these things actually do matter nowadays when you have a championship fight like we had. So pretty much the same race weekends, even though also like the fastest lap in Qatar, when we were clearly also the slower, still went for that fast lap.
Let's open this to the floor now. I'm sure we've got plenty of questions. Please remember to give your name and publication. Who's going to start, please?
Hi, Silja Rulle for Bild. My question is to Max. First of all, congratulations. Do you feel sorry for Lewis for the way he lost his championship?
No, I don't feel sorry, but I can understand, of course, that it can be very painful. But at the end of the day, that's racing as well. You have to just keep fighting till the end, and you know that in racing anything can happen. And I mean, he also won a championship like that. So I think he can understand as well.
Thank you. Next one.
Fred Ferrer, l'équipe. Question to Max. Have you been bothered by the threat of Mercedes since Sunday to get an appeal?
Not really. I mean, we were having a really good time as a team as well, because we knew that we won it on track when there was a green light or a green flag, so nobody could ever take that away from us. I was in a good mood.
Christian, can we get your thoughts on that?
On what, sorry?
Just the threat of Mercedes appealing since Sunday.
We didn't really feel that there was the grounds for a threat. We obviously were in front of the stewards for quite a while, and obviously there was a great deal of discussion over what happened. But safety cars are usual in Formula One, and we've seen it in throughout this season. We've seen and obviously the determination of the race director is always to get the race going again, and that's been a clear mandate. For many years now. So a lot was made of it, but that's the way it is. I mean, we've had so many decisions go against us. Earlier in the race, we felt some of those decisions in Saudi had gone against us. We felt that we'd had bad luck. For example, in Imola, Lewis is in the gravel trap out the race, a lap down, and his teammate crashes with a Williams. And he gets the lap back, and he's second on the grid, and he finishes second. The crash at Silverstone, a red flag. He gets a penalty, but he still wins the race with the fastest lap. So, we felt that many things have gone against us this year, but, things have a habit of working themselves out and balancing themselves over the course of the year. And I think I said on the commentary on the pit wall that, the championship looked like it was gone. Lewis and Mercedes had the quicker package, in Abu Dhabi, and I said it's going to take something from the racing gods, and I'm quite pleased I've got a direct line now. Obviously, if we're not talking to Michael in future, maybe I'll keep using that line.
Thank you. Next one, please.
Lawrence Edmondson, ESPN. Question for Max. We talked to Soto today, and he said that Lewis is quite disillusioned by what happened, and he couldn't guarantee that Lewis would come back to race next year. So can you understand Lewis's position, and how bad would it be for Formula One if Lewis didn't come back after the great battle you two guys had this year?
Well, I mean, of course, I can understand that the first few days after a race like that, you're not happy. But you should also understand, like I said before, this is racing at the end of the day, and these things can happen to you. And I think he should just look back at what he has achieved already. That should give him a lot of comfort, and should also be that drive to just keep on going, because he is still, trying to challenge for that A title, and for sure he can do that again next year. So I don't see any reason why, to give up or stop now.
Thanks, Max.
Masahiro Wari. I'd like to say congratulations on behalf of all Japanese people. And I haven't seen the driver who had a such a good relationship with Honda. So how could you build a good relationship with Honda? And the second question is, after the podium ceremony, Tanabe-san and all Honda people crying and hugging each other. Could you please give any comment for them?
Well, I think I can answer these two things in one go because I think the relationship and it's been amazing. Also, where they come from, and then starting with us, we really believed in the project and we really wanted to succeed together and be successful. And we were already very emotional when we had our first win together, and it only got better from there. Just because also they never gave up; they always kept pushing and believing that they could do it. And over time, you could really see that progress. And also, what I thought was very impressive already that they had an engine designed for 2022, and they're like, well, let's bring it 1 year forward. That's quite impressive to do so. And it really, it really helped us forward. If we didn't have that engine as well, we wouldn't be sitting here today. And everyone within Honda, they're very passionate and very emotional as well. So I can fully understand that. After the race, they were hugging each other and crying because they're already crying at our first race win. So it has been really amazing to be able to work with them.
Christian, is the relationship with Honda the best the team has had with any manufacturer in Formula One?
Yeah, absolutely. The passion, the commitment, just the work ethic of Honda. When they came back into the sport, they had a hard time. They kept their heads down. They worked hard at it. From day one of this relationship with them, it's been phenomenal. And you just see, through their culture, the work ethic that they have. This engine for this year was brought forward 12 months. And, were it not for the incident at Silverstone, Max would have done the entire season on 3 engines. And, it's a great shame that Honda are leaving Formula One officially at the end of this season. And so, of course, the first World Championship for them in 30 years, the first Drivers' World Championship since Ayrton Senna in 1991 is an enormous, moment for them. And Tanabe-san was there 30 years ago to witness that. He looks remarkably similar 30 years later, and he's the type of guy that we haven't seen smile in 3 years. But removing his mask on Sunday, there was the biggest smile from ear to ear. And we're tremendously proud of what we've achieved with Honda. We're tremendously grateful for everything that they've provided and given us. And we now look forward to a future without Honda officially, but still maintaining a relationship with them over the next few years.
Max has spoken about the intensity of this battle for him. How draining has it been for you? Because while we've had everything going on in 2021, you've also been looking ahead with Red Bull powertrains. Has this been your hardest season in Formula One?
Oh, it's been up there. It's certainly been pretty intense from the beginning of the year when we were discussing about the engine freeze or not, and that was imperative to our strategy with the engines and whether we could agree and make an agreement with Honda. That obviously went through during February, and then creating an engine department and engine facility. Has been very, very busy behind the scene, bringing some great talent into Red Bull Racing. It's a tremendously exciting period for us as, we grow from being just a chassis manufacturer to having engines, designed and produced on site. So, a lot going on behind the scenes this year. And of course, a lot of on-track, action. And, I've had a busy year, I think.
I think you have. Let's go back to the floor. Next question, please.
Julien Billiot, Auto Hebdo. First of all, many congratulations to both gentlemen. A couple of questions. Max, you keep repeating that you have achieved your target in Formula One, but surely this title has made you hungry for more. How hungry? And to Christian, how does this title compare to the 4 you had with Seb?
First I'll have a bit of sleep the coming days and weeks, and then I'm sure that once it turns the 1st of January, I'm ready to go again, because of course I love what I'm doing and I love being part of the team. So I already said it on the radio in the in-lab, I want to do this with this team for another 10, 15 years. So hopefully within those years, of course, we can win more championships, because that's always been the goal.
Sorry, what was the question for me?
How does this championship compare to the
compare?
ones with Seb? Yeah.
I mean, it's always difficult to make comparisons, but I think the first title was very special, but this feels because that was against the odds as well, and I think that this one feels equally as special as that very first title, and I think the intensity and the competitiveness of this one has been insane, and I think the fact that it's against the quality of opposition that we've had, in both Lewis and the Mercedes team, has stretched us to probably beyond what we even thought we were capable of. And I think that's what makes it even more rewarding, that during the hybrid era, Mercedes have been all dominant. They've annihilated the opposition. And finally, we've managed to produce a competitive car, and Max has grabbed it with both hands. And to manage to come out on top with the biggest title on offering in motorsport is a tremendously proud moment for us. And obviously, we're tremendously proud of what Max has achieved.
Thank you. Next, please.
Dieter Renken, Racing Lines. Christian, based on what you just said, obviously at the beginning of the year you had two objectives. One was the Drivers' Championship and the other was the Constructors' Championship. You achieved the one, which is probably going to cost you money, but you didn't achieve the other, which doesn't get you as much money as you would have liked. Could you just run us through how important the Championship is to the team overall as opposed to the drivers?
Well, the Constructors is where the money is. That is where the revenues that come into the sport are distributed based on your performance in the championship. And I think every employee rewarded on where they are in the Constructors' Championship as opposed to the drivers. Now, the drivers obviously has the popularity and it has the prestige. And I don't think there's a single employee within our business that would have traded a first place in the Constructors for this Drivers' Championship. Everybody, and when you see the reaction that Max had when he visited the factory yesterday, is so proud of what he's achieved. And I think that, of course, the Constructors has huge importance to it because of that revenue distribution. We're talking millions and millions of dollars in difference between a first and a second place, for example. But the prestige of the Drivers' World Championship, that's the big one. That's the one that you really want. And that's why it meant so much achieving that on Sunday evening.
Thank you. I believe we have one more question from the floor in here. Yes, off you go.
Pierre Gabas from Associated Press. It's for Christian. I just would like to know how many times do you expect to keep Max in your team?
Well, he said for 15 years, so I have the paperwork with me tonight, and it should be very straightforward. But look, it's relationships, I think, are not about contracts. It is exactly about relationships. And Max, he came into the team as almost a boy, and he's grown into a young man, and he's grown with the team. And I think that the relationship that we share, the trust that we share in each other, is worth more than any piece of paper. And I think that I look forward to racing with Max for many years to come, and I believe that the best years are very much still to come.
Thank you. We're going to go to the Zoom now, the video conference. And Christian Nimmervoll, please, motorsport.com, you're first.
Thank you, Tom. Question is to Max. First of all, congratulations. It must have been nerve-wracking to wait first for the verdict at Abu Dhabi, and then for Mercedes to withdraw their appeal. Can you let us know who told you first at Abu Dhabi and then this morning about the decisions? And also, can you let us know about your feelings when you didn't yet know this would turn out good for you?
It was more in Abu Dhabi. I mean, there were two protests coming against us, but it was a little bit of a longer way. But I mean, nevertheless, I mean, we were still celebrating. And then once, of course, there was the all clear on that night. We had another celebration, so we basically had the double celebration. And I mean, since then, I haven't really thought about it too much. And then, of course, this morning, when I heard the news, I was happy about it, but I also expected it.
Thank you. John Noble, please. Autosport, you're next.
Thank you. Question for both Christian and Max. Obviously, you got the result you wanted on Sunday, and it comes at the end of a brilliant campaign. But I just wondered if there's any slight annoyance that should have been a week of celebration has been overshadowed by kind of controversy, and even the FIA admitting the image of F1 has been tarnished by the events and something that you were not involved in at all.
Who'd like to start?
I'll start on that one. I mean, Johnny, you've been around a long time, and you know that people in this business have very short memories. I mean, we've even forgot what's happened earlier this year. It's been such a long racing season. I think that Max is absolutely the deserving world champion when you look at the championship as a whole. And I think that, of course, you know, the events on Sunday have drawn an awful lot of comment. But, you know, that happens. It happens in sport. And I think that we've had a lot of bad luck this year. We got fortunate with a safety car. We made the right strategic calls. We won the race, you know, and great strategy, great teamwork, great execution by Max. And, you know, time will move on. And, you know, Max is a very, very deserving world champion. And we're incredibly proud of that. And, you know, the history books will always show that, you know, he's the 2021 world champion.
Max, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, say for me, I mean, even, you know, with championships which have been won like 30 years ago or whatever, you know, has also been sometimes a bit controversial. But nowadays, I guess people, when they look back at footages like that, they actually enjoy it. So it's just part of the sport.
Thank you. Let's go to RTL Netherlands next, please. Martin Schmeers.
Yes, good evening. Congratulations to both. I have a question for Max. Max, at some point in the season, you have been unhappy with the regulations. After the race in Saudi Arabia, you even said this is not Formula One. Now, today it has been announced that the FIA will install a commission to improve the rules. What should change in the rules according to you?
Well, I mean, I was sometimes not agreeing to what happened in the race, but I think that's quite normal, right? You even have that in your relationship. Sometimes you don't agree with things. So, I always, you know, throughout the whole year, maybe it didn't look like it, but I always had a very good relationship with the stewards. And, you know, when we were in there, sometimes, you know, it's a tough call. I mean, I also in 2019 kind of got invited to spend 2 days with the FIA. And spend a bit of time with the stewards as well. And, you know, sometimes also for them it's very hard to make decisions, and, you know, they have to follow the rules. So yeah, I think it's good at least that you can talk about it. And as a driver, when I look at myself, I also look at every single year, what can I do better? And I think everyone should be like that every single year, you know, to look into the year after and say, what can we do better? And yeah, like I said, that goes for everyone.
Thank you, Max. Now, next, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the FIA President, Jean Todt, onto the stage, just to get his thoughts. Jean, very warm welcome.